Assembly Member Kurten.
I don't know if you want to read out the answer you had to my original question. Okay. Well, it's good that you say that there shouldn't be a second referendum, because that's absolutely the case. We've had a referendum, and the people of the country voted to leave the European Union, and also to leave the single market, and also to leave the customs union as well. And do you acknowledge that the people of the United Kingdom as a whole were right, and people who in the political sphere, such as you, who may disagree with the people, need to respect the vote and the will of the people in our democracy?
Chair, I mean, the reason why Mayor's question time can sometimes be frustrating for me, let alone for you, is often questions are based on false premises. And this is a classic example of a question being asked on a false premise. There is no evidence at all that somebody who voted to leave the EU, for example, necessarily voted to leave the single market. There is no evidence at all that somebody who voted to leave the EU necessarily voted to leave the customs union. There is no evidence at all that somebody who voted to leave the EU voted to make themselves poorer. There is no evidence at all that somebody who voted to leave the EU wanted their neighbour, who may be an EU citizen, to be uncertain about his or her future. So I can't accept the premise of that question. That's one of the reasons why I say this to the government. You, when you negotiate with the EU, must realise, yes, of course, the British public voted to leave the European Union. That doesn't mean we voted to leave the single market, the customs union, and to have uncertainty for EU citizens. And it's possible to have a deal leaving the EU that makes us very, very less well off, or not as bad. And the research we've published from independent economists at Cambridge Econometrics shows, of the 5 options before the government, hard Brexit, no transition, leading to transition with single market customs union, the one that's best for us is on this extreme. Well, UKIP may not like it.
Well, Mr.
That's
Mayor,
the evidence.
Mr. Mayor, you talk about false premises, and you talk about your report from Cambridge Econometrics, but I mean the whole report and the scenarios that you've talked about is actually based on assumptions which are unknowable. On page 6 of your report, it says it was assumed that if we stay in the EU, that there would be a 1.9% growth in investment over the period 2021 to 2030. But then it was assumed that if we leave, that growth in investment would be 1%. But those are simply assumptions. They're not based on any evidence or any research. They're just figures which are pulled out of the air, and it's in your report which you're referring to. If your whole answer is based on a report which is just based on assumptions which are unknowable going forward to 2030, which no one can know about, isn't your argument nonsense?
I'll tell you what is knowable is the NHS hasn't seen £350 million invested in it since we voted to leave the European Union. I'll tell you what is knowable is the uncertainty employers are articulating to me about the uncertainty caused by Brexit. I'll tell you what is knowable is the evidence I have from 4 men and women on building sites who are talking about construction workers returning to country of origin because of uncertainty. I'll tell you what is knowable is conversations I've had with Londoners who've been here for 10, 20, 30 years who now think this city is alien to them because of concerns they have about their future status in this country.
Well, Mr. Mayor, what's also
I'll tell you what is knowable is the fact that this government has got no plans in relation to what happens if they can't reach a deal.
We know, Mr. Mayor, that there's been more direct investment into the UK in 2017 than in any previous year. So because of the referendum, I would argue that there is a lot of confidence in the UK going forward. People are looking forward to the wealth and prosperity and freedom it will bring, and looking forward to Brexit Day.
Well,
Chair, time out. We will make America great again.